Good morning and welcome to today's webinar hosted by Creamer Media Webinars on behalf of global filtration technology provider Donaldson Filtration. Mines work as one interconnected system, but do filtration strategies work the same way? In this session, experts and clients of Donaldson Filtration will explore how partnering with a single filtration provider across the entire operation can help simplify maintenance, support more consistent performance, and make risk easier to manage. Join us as we examine how a unified filtration strategy can support reliability, efficiency, and long-term operational performance across the mine. Learn how integrated filtration and strong local partners improve reliability, uptime, and lifecycle value in mining operations. Before we begin, please note that the chat and the Q&A are available to you. Please post all your questions in the Q&A and your comments in the chat. Both the Q&A and the chat are at the bottom of your screen. Please also be aware that we are recording this webinar and will send the recording to you when it's available. We're also streaming live to our YouTube channel. So let me get started by introducing you to today's speakers. They include Cameron Diesel, the Sales Director for Donaldson Aftermarket, Santiago Rodriguez, the Sales Manager for Donaldson Aftermarket, Atish Singh, Sales Manager for Industrial Air Filtration, and Ian Toit, National Sales Manager at Highveld Filters. So without further ado, I'll hand over now to Cameron Diesel to get things started.
Great, good morning. And Shannon, thanks for the introduction and for hosting us. So as was mentioned, I'm the Sales Director for MSA, and just clarifying up front that MSA Mobile Solutions Aftermarket is often referred to simply as aftermarket. So we'll probably use those terms interchangeably. I am accountable for MSA across Africa and really glad to be hosting today. Up front, I'd like to clarify we have no intention of going into a product deep presentation here. The aim of the session is really to be practical and outcome focused. We're going to use the term filtration ecosystem because what we're looking at is a simple and efficient filtration ecosystem across the mine site. So the next slide, I think most people on the call should be familiar with. If you've been in mines in Africa, you know that we have some common characteristics across many mine sites. The first being that many of these are remote. Wherever it is in Africa, we can fly and still drive for hours and hours to get there, which obviously brings challenges in terms of accessing the site and running maintenance on the site at times. The other one is harsh environment. You know, we'll probably deal with dust as a separate element of the harsh environment, but this is harsh environment. High daytime temperatures, low nighttime temperatures, dust, humidity, storms, pits getting flooded regularly. So it really is a harsh environment in the African condition. I have the privilege of working with Donaldson staff across the globe, and I never ever feel quite that someone sitting in Europe understands just how harsh an African mine site is. So big time problem there. And dust. Dust contaminates everything, not just the air, gets into the liquid, gets into the hydraulics. We're dealing with a dusty environment. And what does that mean across a mine site? It means less equipment time, which increases total cost of ownership, decreases asset life, and we could probably put it all down to the fact that there's increased contamination that's causing the problem. So that's really setting the stage for today. And what we want to do is move from there into a graphic of what we consider a very simplified, but a typical mine site. And to the best of our knowledge, and this is a disclaimer, I'm saying to the best of our knowledge, Donaldson is the only filtration provider who can provide filtration across this entire mine site. And in the Q&A and even in the chat, I stand to be corrected, but that's our perspective. Just taking a walk through the site before we move any further forward. If we look at the mining equipment in the pit, and it's the same for underground. I know my colleague Santiago will be talking to us about surface mining and underground mining. We have engine filtration, we have fuel cleanliness that's critical, and hydraulic cleanliness that's critical. Every piece of mining equipment, or just about every piece, is running a very complex hydraulic circuit. So we provide filtration across the full spectrum of mobile equipment. Then Santiago will also be addressing processing and plant to a degree, because he'll talk about industrial hydraulics and bulk fuel, which we cover in the next slide. And for me, it shows how interchangeable and how connected all these systems are. Atish will be talking to you about industrial air filtration. And that's what we cover here: industrial air, dust collectors, replacement filters, condition monitoring, service and support in the industrial space. And last but definitely not least is fuel and fluid infrastructure. Fuel operates in just about every piece of mobile equipment and has the potential to contaminate the system and really increase wear and tear and maintenance costs on the system. If there's any takeaway from this slide, it's that we see this as a single ecosystem. Dealing with any of these systems or subsystems in isolation, there will be gaps in filtration. We lose the opportunity to improve overall filtration. And that's why our strategy is simple, that we have a mine-wide protection ecosystem. That's our aim. That's the value we can provide to our partners and our customers. If we look at the bottom bar, what we have here is we're going to get more contamination, more uptime, because there's less contamination, and more uptime means decreased total cost of ownership and increased asset life. And in the health and safety space, we're going to influence positively your safety and your ESG performance. That's the impact that we see when we partner correctly with a partner across a mine site. Again, not a product heavy. We're going to focus on applications, coordination, and outcomes. And we have one of our distribution partners who I'll introduce in a moment, because all of this is only possible through partnership on the mine site with local representation. So let's use that as the bridge into introducing our panel. We have Santiago, who's mobile equipment and bulk fluids, really looking at system level reliability. He leads Donaldson's mobile solution aftermarket business across North, East, West, and Central Africa. Strong mechanical engineering background, system level application experience. And to be effective in this forum, he needs to work closely with industrial, air, and high-pro teams to deliver. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Atish is with our industrial air division, looking at plant reliability, compliance, lifecycle costs. He is the sales manager for Donaldson Industrial Air Filtration business across Africa. Engineering background, once again, technically strong, extensive mining sector experience, specializing in plant air systems. And Ian du Toit, he's going to really focus on local execution and on-site delivery. And what do some real-time mining outcomes look like? What are the impacts he's seen in his daily business? He is the national sales manager at Highveld Filters, who is one of our authorized Donaldson distributors. Across South and Southern Africa, we have about 50 distributors, and across Africa, we have about 100 distributors, all with different levels of experience, different levels of expertise. And Highveld certainly is one of our technically strong distributors who operates in this mining filtration ecosystem space. Just a note on Ian, he has over 20 years experience across OEM and aftermarket filtration in mining and heavy industry. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Santiago.
Great. Let me start sharing my screen. Let me know, please, if you see it.
We got it, Santi.
Thank you very much, Cam. Building up on what Cam said, I think there's something very important that I want to underline, which is the ecosystem part of what we're talking about here. And with that, we have this very nifty presentation in which we have a bird's eye view. And I think that's what I want to focus on. I want to understand, how does a mine look like from the top, and how can we impact each one of the different parts within it? My name is Santiago Rodriguez, like Cameron said, and me and my wonderful team do take care of the toughest mining conditions, from the phosphate mines in Morocco to the gold mines in Egypt, to the other gold mines that we have a lot in West Africa, also diamond mines in Tanzania. So we have seen it all across a very wide variety of environments, jungle, desert. And one thing I think we all agree they have in common, they are all challenging in different flavors, but all dusty and really a tough condition for us to be operating these very high-tech engines that we have that we need to protect. So it's not just a matter of protecting the equipment, it's a matter of, like Cam said, really increasing the total cost of ownership and having a smooth operation and increasing just the actual output that we have. In this, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go run through a little bit of surface mining, underground mining, and at the end, what I want to present to you is a business case in which we optimize a specific operation and we could get $1 behind each one of the improvements that we've done. So we stepped away. I'm a mechanical engineer, Atish as well. We have a lot of mechanical engineers here, and we love to speak about products. We love to speak about products. In this case, we're going to speak about also money and what does it mean to you. So I'm very excited for that. So let's start with surface mining. So as you all know, we have extreme dust, vibration, weather. Sometimes the dust in combination with rain, it becomes this sort of clay that is also very challenging. So from the beginning, what we do is we need to have the absolute best filtration on board. That means from the air filters to the loop filters to the cabin filters protecting your drivers, to the AdBlue, to even the pre-filters that we have that separate these rough particles. Now, we do have that. Donaldson has had more than 100 years experience in absolutely being on the leading edge of the filtration technology that we actually put on those machines. I'm not going to go into specifics, but again, we have absolutely the leading edge on the actual technology that we have in each one of the onboard filtration. And what happens, and one of the things that I want to resound also that Cameron said, a lot of our competitors only focus on what's happening on the machine, which is absolutely of vital importance. I don't want to reduce any of the importance of the filtration on board. But again, we are a bird and we're having a bird-eye view in which what is the holistic way of having a better efficiency in the operations in mining. And that does not stop at the machine level. So we go back and we see where is a diesel coming from these machines. And of course, they come from a refinery that then they get delivered, then they get on the fuel area, then we get storage, then we get either properly or not properly storage as well. And what happens there, each one of these steps is an opportunity for that pesky dust to contaminate, in this case, either the fuel or the loop that we have. So what do we have here? We also have a system in place which protects our fuel and loop, which is absolutely essential to keep the operation running smoothly. So we have, I think, in this case, we go also on the underground mining, and we have a different flavor of the same problem, which is having a lot of dust within a more confined space. We also have strict requirements that are required not only for the machines, but also for the people inside. And let's say we never have a boring day because we always have different challenges no matter where we go. Now I want to jump into, I already said, the importance of having filtration in a holistic way. And that means in the machine, that means in the process that we have. And I want to go and walk you through a little business case that we did, a mine. In this case is in Europe, the mine is a very gold mine. And the business case that I'm presenting to you today has nothing to do with the onboard filters. And I think you've heard a lot about Donaldson, that we have the absolute best quality and we're protecting all the filters within the machine. But what we do before the fuel gets into the machine and the lube gets into the machine. So what are we doing? We are making sure that the fluids that get into the machine are in pristine quality, and we really allow those filters within machine to perform at an optimal level. So the mine we're talking about, and I'm sure if you're in the mining industry, you understand the sort of loads that we get and the performance that we need from a mine. In this case, is a mine that is operating 23 hours a day, 7 days a week, and just unplanned downtime of any of the machine can cost hundreds of euros and thousands of euros. So what did we do here? We came up with, first of all, an analysis of what they had. So they had a few, both diesel and oil tanks. And what we did is that we went in there with our clean solutions approach. That means we clean the fuel as it's coming from the delivery. We protect it once it's in the tanks, and then we do a final filtration polish before it goes to the machine. All great, all good. And now if you are a customer, you're asking yourself, why do I want to spend even more money on filtration when I'm already buying either OE or Donaldson for the machines? And I think now it's where you get your money's worth. Here is the actual numbers that we had before and after setting this system for them. So first of all, they had a rate of 6 machine breakdown due to in the injector replacement. At $5,000 per injector, this is already a $15,000 saving. The unplanned downtime, this is where the money is at. And you very well know that when we have a stop of one of these huge machines in the mine, this can mean up to $150,000 per hour. What happened? We changed from the 24 hours that we had, we reduced it in half to 12 hours. And the other thing that we were allowed to do is, since we had much more pristine fluids coming to the machine, what does that mean with your filters? Is that the filters, the actual spend that you have on filters will be slightly lower, and you can increase the service interval. We have indicators, we have fuel and loop monitoring to understand how dirty that actually is. And if we can extend that service interval for the onboard filters, we will do so as well. So that means we actually sell less filter on onboard, but you have a smoother operation. So that means that for this specific mine, a very high performing mine with extremely high output, this improvement that we did, they had a saving of $2 million per year. So I have to say we're quite proud of that. I will go back to the ecosystem. And in this case, I would like to, I already discussed with you both the surface, the underground mining, and I told you this nice example of the gold mine. So I want to go now quickly to the industrial side of things. And for this, we have, I have my wonderful colleague Atish explaining you a little bit more of what's behind it and what do we do and what do we offer also from the industrial level.
Many thanks, Santiago. Okay, let me just quickly share my screen. Okay, perfect. Morning, everyone. So building on what we've seen from Santiago with regards to the mobile solution and HiPro product lines, I'm going to expand further down the typical mining flow sheet into the processing plant. And presenting the industrial air filtration offering, known by the acronym IAF, and how it complements the portfolio and the types of uses it's designed for. Typically, Industrial Solutions' diverse product range will cover applications ranging from the ROM stockpile all the way to the final product, inclusive of the conveyors, transfer points, crushers, mills, silos, pulverizers, the smelting plants, even considering the MCC rooms requiring pressurization and extending into the processing labs, both fire assays and sample preps. Essentially, IF utilize a team of multidisciplinary specialists in conjunction with our customers. We go through to the relevant site and conduct an extensive evaluation and gather the relevant information, after which we present proposals to the customer as well as the relevant stakeholders. In summary, I want to present a case study encompassing typical solutions in the mining industries across Africa. This particular case study pertains to a typical fire assay lab section of a mine. And as mentioned prior to this, together with the client, we firstly gather information on extraction points, material specifications, and based on this, the team evaluate the application. We then select the applicable solution, design the ducting layout by factoring extraction velocities, air temperatures, the transfer velocities within the ducting, as well as the settlements and phase velocities, ultimately ensuring clean air and finally transmitting into the atmosphere and enhancing longevity of the system. This particular case study is based on a gold mine in East Africa, where the client required an effective fume and particulate extraction solution for their fire assay lab. The lab contained both fusion and capillation furnaces, and they generated hot gases, fine particulate, and metal-bearing fumes, which created a health and safety risk, air quality risks within the lab itself. The challenge was to ensure reliable capture and filtration of the high temperature emissions while maintaining clean laboratory condition within the lab. We found that the dust nature was very fine abrasive mineral dust that was potentially toxic, and through the furnaces, high temperature as well. This particular fire assay lab contained 4 different furnaces and 5 workbenches, which after the evaluation resulted in a total of 13 extraction points. And using some of our patent calculations and simulation programs, we calculated a minimum required flow rate of 15,500 meter cubes per hour required to ensure the clean laboratory conditions. The offering to the client was a complete turnkey solution, consisting of a DFE 416, which is our proprietary downflow evolution trigonal filter cartridge units. The cartridges that you utilized were high temperature thermal wave cartridges, which were able to handle the maximum 135 degrees Celsius air temperatures. Together with this, we selected a suitable fan set for the correct operation of the system, together with the design and supply of a balanced hood and ducting system. This is just one of the many listed applications in which Donaldson IF range provides advanced industrial air filtration solutions. We specialize in dust, fume, and mist collection, and with our main priority being to improve the air quality and equipment efficiency around your plant. And that's just a quick wrap up and overview of our industrial air filtration division. Like we said, we're not going to go too heavy into products today. And to show you all presented Donaldson products come together in the real world in collaboration with our partners, I'm very pleased to hand over to Ian Toit from Highveld Filters, who will introduce his company and walk us through how our teams work together to deliver valuable to our customers. Over to you, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present at this webinar. As you said before, I'm Ian du Toit. I'm the National Sales Manager for Highveld Filters, and one of the leading Donaldson distributors as well. So firstly, I just want to talk about Highveld Filters, give you an overview. So it's a company that's been established since 1978, and we've been in a Donaldson distributor from the outset. So that means we've had a beneficial relationship spanning nearly 50 years. We are a level 1 BEE company with a 51% Black female-owned company. And we are situated in the coalfields of Mpumalanga, as well as KwaZulu-Natal, and we have dedicated teams operating in all 3 product categories. So MSA or aftermarket, the hydraulic fields, both Donaldson and Hypro, and the industrial part. So we have relationships with most of the major companies and mining contractors in the areas that we operate in. So the markets that we operating or the market sectors is mining in both open cast and open cast underground mining, as well as the construction markets, which basically fall together. Construction, a lot of construction equipment is used in the mining industry as well. So we also operate in the agricultural market, as well as petrochemical, as well as a paper and pulp and industrial markets as well. So our footprint, as you can see, we're quite well established, mostly in the Mpumalanga coal regions, our head office being in Emalahleni or Witbank for people that still know it as that. And we have branches in Middelburg, Secunda, Ermelo, and Delmas. And those branches are predominant in the coal fields, and we have a lot of tech expertise in that area. So we also manage in Richards Bay and Durban. We have 2 branches in the KwaZulu-Natal area, and both of those markets, the Mpumalanga and KZN area, also have a lot of agricultural business in that area. And we also manage a number of vendor management inventory sites. So where we have store facilities on these sites and inventory that we own but manage for customers on these sites, and to facilitate their maintenance requirements and to add value to their operations as well. Sorry for that. So our capabilities, our current capabilities are as follows. I'll explain it, but we do not limit ourselves to this. And we will customize any offering based on customer requirements. So we develop kits both for open cast and underground mining. And these can be customized or based on OE specifications. So this is also based on a customer's maintenance philosophy, as each of the customers has their own service philosophy. So they don't always fit in with the OE philosophy. Some of them change the philosophy, either servicing shorter periods or extending operations wherever they can, using the total cost of ownership, as Cameron explained. So total cost of ownership has become an important part on primary equipment. And again, that is based on the service philosophy and the utilization of hybrid kits. So hybrid kits meaning we will fit in Donaldson products, and in some instances we will fit in OEM products based on what the customer requires as well. So we will also do filtration enhancements on equipment. Again, we're talking about equipment life. So the filtration enhancements will basically entail changing or improving the OEM filtration, or even changing some of the OEM filtration. So a good example is just fitting extra pre-cleaners onto equipment, as well as ejectors to ensure the air intake systems are adequate, remembering that the South African and African conditions, the dust loading is about 7 times higher than that of some of the European and Asian operations. So also, as part of a contamination control program, we also install additional hydraulic filtration on mining equipment, and that is to ensure that fluids are kept at an acceptable cleanliness levels. We also, as I say, we take contamination control programs. where we take responsibility for the customer's contamination fluids. So we do the sampling for the customer, and we make sure that those cleanliness levels on that equipment is maintained. And in some instances, we even improve or maintain that as well. So we also do the retrofit on primary, secondary, and secondary open cast and underground mining equipment. So a lot of the time we replace the OEM filtration for improved filtration as well. And then we also do specialized filtration in the petrochemical industry. As you know, in Mpumalanga has got some, as well as the KZN region, we do specialized filtration in that industry as well. And then we also do installation and servicing of industrial products to a varied customers base, both those regions as well. So before I present the case study, I just want to touch on how the supply chain has evolved during the past number of years and what has happened in the supply chain. So firstly, the consumers have become increasingly more aware of their options in the marketplace. So while they have installed sophisticated ERP systems, it's become increasingly more important for them to reduce the number of vendors that they deal with, and thereby reducing their risk and improving efficiency. So if you remember, some customers have had so many suppliers, and a lot of people have based on a Toyota system where they reduce the number of suppliers and improve their delivery as well. So what do they do as well? They also choose suppliers based on performance, sustainability, and the strategic fit. So before you do bids now for customers, they evaluate you 100% and check everything. So they check you on your performance, your sustainability, the strategic fit, and how do they build those long-term relationships. So we also have to, in some instances now, supply qualifications of team members that operate in or will be operating on a project as well. So yeah, we build long-term relationships instead of just transactional deals with customers. So instead of a one-off purchase, we do the long-term relationship, doing improvements, etc., on equipment as well. So part of that process is customers building enterprise development into their supply chain, which has become a big process in the supply chain process now. So if we look at the customer case study, this is one of a major coal mining company operating underground, a number of underground machines. So they faced challenges with equipment reliability on their continuous miners, on shuttle cars, roof bolting machines, and then gearboxes on overland conveyors. So all this equipment is related. So if the one doesn't operate, the others don't operate properly either. So that the reliability issues arose from the filters operating well beyond their reasonable service life, and the service life, and that is basically based on a supply chain issue from an OEM and other aftermarket suppliers. So what was the solution? Firstly, we took oil samples of all the equipment. So every type of oil that's used on that equipment, we took samples of that equipment. And secondly, we analyzed all that, analyzed the cleanliness of those samples so that we could get a base level of where they were sitting at the time. And from there, we compared that existing level to what their requirements are and what the OEM requirements are for that as well. So in this instance, we installed new filtration on a trial basis using both Donaldson as well as Hi-Pro, high efficiency filters on that trial. And then we repeated that process afterwards and reassess the new cleanliness levels for that system. So from there, the cleanliness levels improved from a level of 26, 23, 19 to a level of 17, 14, 11. So that's an 8 times improvement. Or if you convert it, it's 256 less particles in that hydraulic fluid. So a massive improvement for the customer, and improving the reliability of that equipment by a tremendous amount, and also saving them a lot of downtime, because the machines could be in service for a longer period of time. And from there, we developed service kits, including that Donaldson and iPro service kits or filters in that program. So from there, the changes are continuous. So the filters, or the equipment is always at the optimum level. Oil level is always, or oil cleanliness level is always good. So what was a benefit to the customer at the end of the day? So that benefit is the improved reliability on equipment, so they can keep them in production for a lot longer. They were having cost savings of up to 45% parts compared to the OEM and other aftermarket suppliers. And the service kits are now provided. They don't have to have loose filters. So the kits are provided to do specific services, and it is their cost of maintenance as well. So for them, there's a benefit on the supply chain. So products are available from a single source. They don't have to go to various suppliers to obtain their filters, and we could supply from that single source as well. And for us and the customer, it creates a strategic partnership for both the parties, and a long-term relationship as well. Well, what is the benefit for Highveld filters? So from there, we have a comprehensive product portfolio, so we can offer the aftermarket or MSA product, the industrial air product, and iPro hydraulics in one. We've also now got the ability to serve a diverse customer segments. So we've got all integrated solutions. So in some instances, we can use MSA, IAF, and iPro to assist the customer, also making it easier for them to purchase from one supplier. And we can give them the solution base. As Cameron and Santiago said earlier, we are one of the few companies, or Donaldson is one of the few companies that can provide solutions for that. And we can help that customer as well. So it also gives us the strength in cross-selling and bundling products to maximize that customer's value. And from there, the customers got improved efficiency, also reduced downtime, and we have a lot of loyalty from that customer. And we can strengthen and maintain the supply chain a lot better in that manner as well. And thank you very much. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ian. If you can stop sharing your screen, thank you. And I see, Ian, there's a wonderful comment to kick off our Q&A from someone who you helped at Mzikulu Colliery with nano air filters, and saying machines are still running well. And no, in case you're wondering, we didn't pay that person to put that comment there, but it really builds on everything we've discussed. So maybe wrapping up the presentation part and bringing a few threads together that we have discussed. We heard Santiago present a case study on fuel. We heard Atish present a case study on flammable gases and all sorts of things that I'll probably never understand fully, and that's why we have our industrial air division with their expertise. And we heard Ian present a case study on coal. And Ian, one of the points in your presentation that really stood out was when you said the reliability of all those machines impact on the rest of the machines. And that's why it's so important. And for me, that really builds on the theme that we've tried to highlight here, that filtration touches on the entire mine. If we have filtration issues in one area, it's going to impact on the rest of the mine. Mobile equipment, bulk fluids, plant air, dust control, hydraulics, it really touches on all areas. And for us, what does our one mine strategy really mean in practice? We have one filtration strategy across the site, one aligned Donaldson team across our product divisions, and we deliver through authorized local distributors such as Highveld Filters. So that's really, for me, the end of what we want to share with you. We will move to a Q&A now. As Shannon asked, if you could put your Q&A into your questions into the Q&A section, we will do our best to answer them. And if we can't answer them today, we will get back to you. So please, over to the rest of our viewers. Any questions you may have. And this is where, as presenters, we always wonder: have we answered all the questions already, or are we waiting for someone to come with some more detail that they're looking for?
Cameron, there are luckily 2 questions that have come through. Would you like me to farm them out to you, or have you been able to?
I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A, so if you could, that'll be great.
No problem. Okay, so the first one I've got is from Matome, and he says, good morning to everybody. And he says he wants to ask, in the experience of the panelists, what's the biggest barrier that mines face when moving from siloed optimization to truly integrated system decision making? Is it technical complexity or internal alignment or risk aversion? Who's able to maybe take on that question?
I do have some thoughts on it, but I'll leave it over to our panelists, because I think it's a really great question. Each of these, as much as we're talking about the silos as if they're easy to cross, each of them will have their own engineering teams, in some instances possibly even their own procurement teams. So there is complexity that needs to be overcome. Ian or Santi or Atish, would you like to answer that one?
I completely agree with what you said, Cam. And not only that, I think the answer is on the question of Matome. Really, the decision making within the mines, I think, is the biggest complexity for us to have a holistic view. It takes time, but we do have the right results to prove that is the best way to move forward. But I think the internal complexities is what I've seen the biggest challenge.
And maybe I'll build on that before any of our other panelists. One of the things that we're doing is really approaching mines at executive level and approaching them with the one Donaldson solution. And our experience is it really helps to get a push down from executive level, understanding what we can do. And then our different teams operate from the ground up. And we generally meet somewhere in the middle when it really works. So we need buy-in from senior management, and we need people on the ground. So the various teams or representative of teams we've met here would need to be on those mines, presenting to the people on the ground and also showing them the benefit of moving over to a single supply, and having partners such as Highveld and others within our distributors that are able to engage with all those different teams is, for me, the final glue that brings everything together.
Yeah. So can I expand on that as well, Cameron? I think one of the big issues that we always have in the mining environment, because you've got production guys, you've got the supply chain or purchasing guys, and the reliability guys all have different KPIs that they work to.
Yeah.
And these KPIs aren't always aligned, and that is where the issues that come into play, where you need to get all of those people on the same baseline and get them to work together to understand the full impact of their decisions.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. And I'll give a practical example there. We may have a procurement team who are tasked on cutting cost by 10%, and we have a production team who's tasked on reducing downtime. And to reduce downtime, we can improve on filtration, but filter versus filter, the cost can often go up if we don't do an overall analysis, as we've seen in our case studies. So that's where I believe the Donaldson expertise at all levels, together with our partner, will overcome those barriers. So not losing track of the question that was initially asked, what are the complexities? I don't believe that they are technical. We haven't heard from our panelists that they're technical. It really is about the mine's procurement and maintenance philosophy, and having the right approach, the right one strategy approach from a supplier.
Great. Well, thank you to all of you for answering that one. We've got another question here from Maredi, and he says, or she says, what is the minimum reliability percentage as a key performance indicator and the percentage of downtime? That's quite technical. I'm sure you all understand that.
Maybe I can take this one on. And I think we don't have a single answer for this because it depends so much on the kind of vehicle park that you would have on a specific mine. If we have, for example, a brand new mine with brand new machines, and we do the servicing in a correct manner, there should be, at least theoretically, no unplanned downtime. So there's a difference between planned downtime that we can factor in and we can somehow take into account, and the unplanned one. Usually the planned one, it doesn't hurt the efficiency because it's taken into account from the beginning. So the best one would be unplanned downtime, 0. We know that's not always the case. We also have sometimes mines, believe it or not, with very old machines, or that they buy secondhand machines, and the firefighting done in this kind of mines is constant. So ideally 0, I would say. In reality, I think it's a bit higher than that.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else would like to take a stab at that one?
Yeah, I think just from industrial point of view, I think very similar to what Santiago mentioned. We also want to reduce that unplanned downtime as much as possible. And I think that's where it comes in as well, where we integrate our IQ systems, etc., into there to ensure that we're obviously being proactive, maintaining the equipment on when we're able to have planned downtime versus unplanned downtime itself, especially on the IAF side of it, where typically our equipment often runs 24 hours a day. So we never want to have a breakdown as one part of the plant, such as a dust extractor, will affect the rest of the plant as well that might need to shut down. So yeah, integrating all those together to be more efficient and reduce that downtime as much as possible.
So Atish, thank you. And I know we said we weren't going to go into products here, but you mentioned IQ as if it's a small thing. Could you tell us a little bit more about your real-time monitoring and the benefits to reducing downtime?
Yeah, so just in a nutshell, Cameron, I think you touched on it. It's the online monitoring system. We have sensors around our equipment. Typically, we'll also combine a number of equipment on a certain site where our customers can both see the operation of the equipment on a real-time manner from their phones, from their offices, whether they're on site or even at home, thousands of miles away. Able to see the efficiency of the filters, the operation, any and all sensors of it, and then from there plan accordingly for either services or whether we need to shut down the plant for any repairs at that time. And then yeah, it comes into it. We can also do airflows, etc., within the ducting itself in the IF division, and yeah, ensure that we optimally running the plant for them.
Thank you. And we don't have the same capabilities on mobile equipment, but certainly in the industrial hydraulic space, we have real-time monitoring available. And that is definitely one of the benefits of our one mine, one Donaldson strategy. So thank you, Shannon. I think you said there was one more question.
Yes, this one comes from Chaluba, and they ask a question about dust suppression. Is Donaldson thinking of developing a meter rating of dust monitoring on machines before the air enters the filtration processing?
Okay, let me jump on that side of it as well. So specifically with regard to the industrial air filtration, we don't do any dust suppression, but we do dust extraction. With regards to meters, we don't have a Donaldson meter that we utilize. That's a proprietary, but we do work with a number of companies where we can purchase their monitoring system and integrate it into our solution. So depending on where the client is and their requirements, we will look at different models as well as local representation for those monitoring systems, and can supply it as part of and parcel of our solution to the client.
Great, thank you. I hope that answers Chaluba's question. And Cameron, that seems to be all that's come through. If there are any others that anybody would like to post, now's your chance.
Thank you. And I'll just comment on the one chat is regarding the empowering the youth companies. I will put on here, Donaldson is proudly a level 3 triple BEE full black ownership company. We do have a number of youth development, mostly in Cape Town around our plants. So Ruben, if you could please, be patient. I'll contact you. I'll make the commitment to reach out to you by email. There's obviously no commitment that we can do anything, but we definitely will get hold of you and find out where you are and what you're doing. So thank you for your question, and apologies if we didn't get back to you previously.
Right. It doesn't look like there are any more questions, but I'm sure people will be able to reach out via email.
Yeah.
So
thank you. And if I could just sum up there, we've heard a number of key topics, and I'll even use Ian's takeaways because they really, Ian is our feet on the floor at the customer, and some of his takeaways were improved reliability on equipment, whether that's mobile equipment, whether it's stationary equipment, cost savings, which for us, we really do talk about total cost of ownership reduction. The aim is not to sell the cheapest filter, but to reduce total cost of ownership by applying the best technology across the mine site. And then products from a single source. We know that we have great partners and we have great products, and we are bringing in and sort of building on this ability to tackle filtration across the mine site and creating strategic partnerships. So I think you're going to mention our presence at Mining Indaba next week. I'll leave that over to you, and then I guess we can wrap up.
Thanks so much, Cameron, and to all our panelists. And as Cameron said, that does bring us to the end of the webinar. I'd like to say thank you to Cameron Diesel, Santiago Rodriguez, and Atish Singh from Donaldson Filtration Solutions, and Ian du Toit from Highveld Filters for their expertise. And thank you so much to the attendees for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. If you're interested in hearing more about Donaldson, please visit their website at www.donaldson.com. For over 100 years, Donaldson has been solving customers' complex filtration needs and is today one of the largest providers of unique filtration technologies and high-quality filters and parts. And Donaldson will also be at Mining Indaba, taking place from 9 to 12 February in Cape Town. So why not stop by their stand and discuss your filtration needs during Africa's premier meeting place for African and global mining leaders. So finally, a reminder that the recording of today's webinar will be made available to all stakeholders. And if you have any additional questions, please be in touch. You can reach us at shannon@creamermedia.co.za. Thank you so much for your time,